Right, well, first of all, the whole tour I thought was brilliant. I mean, it changed my whole personal views of techno music.
Did it really?
Yeah.
What do you normally listen to then?
Pardon?
What do you normally
What I
listen
normally
to?
use, I've never really listened to a lot of techno.
Right.
What sort of music do you use?
Mainly progressive house.
Right.
And the Wearables, one of my favourites. Right, well.
Well, that's good though, isn't it?
The thing is, what he plays at the moment is actually quite akin to what we were all playing in a way. He plays a lot of quite hard stuff. It's just not fast. Do you know what I mean?
It's that sort of like, this sort of Megadog MIDI service thing. It's all sort of, well, for me, it's about a bit of variety. You know, like we were playing with the Aphex too,
Especially
all these different people, and they're like nothing like us at all. You know, and that, but you know, you go there for the evening. It's really, the variety sort of element to it is you know, like the DJs all trying to keep it all together. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of little party, really. You know, and that's what we're trying to get that across, really.
So, what influenced you to get into the techno scene?
Just, I think it's from listening to electronic music from sort of, way back, sort of. Well, you bought Autobahn when it came out. It's, the meditation sort of thing. I mean, what's that? 1976 or 74 or something.
There's always been something about it that's I suppose because it was new and not that I dislike sort of more conventional music at all, but
no, it's always been in parallel with listening
to
other music, hasn't it?
But it's also sort of like sounds and from creating with the electronic instruments. It's a new sound, and it's not like a cello or what it sounds like, So it's all about that, I suppose. I've got really pricked my ears up about all the sort of early European electronic sort of experimental sort of stuff.
Kraftwerk of the band that I remember most.
Yeah.
Really, because I can remember buying Computer World by Kraftwerk and still having to go to bed at a certain time because it's like your bedtime. Hey, get to bed. It's your bedtime, and it's still being like vaguely light. Do you know what I mean? And listening to Kraftwerk as I went to sleep. So that's pretty early, wasn't it?
And then we just sort of like progressed into like listening to always keeping an ear out for electronic music. So we got into a bit of high energy and sort of New Order and that sort of thing, and then it sort of span off into electro, all the electro music. And then
by that time, you already had a drum machine, didn't you?
Yeah, by that time I was off.
I played guitar.
So I was doing the saxophone and sort of had this great idea that I would go on the dole and just devote my whole life about to study this one instrument, the saxophone. But I suppose I just got impatient about it, and what with the electro sort of scene happening, I was just like really into that, and the instantaneous, being the sort of composer, player, and conductor all in one. It's what we.
Well, it's just good, isn't it? Because if you've got a drum machine and a synthesizer at that point, you could, a good amplifier, you could sound as sort of lively and as entertaining as any sort of high energy record or electro record.
Yeah, it's really like
it's
that.
Just so sort of instant in the production, but it's not. That's where people get it a bit wrong. I think a lot of the time it sounds so easy to make music with electronic instruments. If you haven't got an idea there, it's going to sound crap anyway.
No, yeah, if you've got an idea there, it's instantaneous, isn't it? But that's where we sort of started, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd say.
What bands have inspired you to create the music you create today? Who's like your earliest influences?
Well, for me, with electronic music, it's a bit of a boring one, but it is Kraftwerk. It's like I was never into Jean-Michel Jarre and the other electronic people from that long ago. Tangerine Dream a little bit, but also though I don't know. I also got inspired by a lot of the two-tone bands and that sort of thing. That really got me thinking. I want to like play music. That's what I really want to do. Although the sort of music that we do is completely different, but that definitely got me into the mood of it.
Yeah. Just personally, I take influences from so many, everything I hear really. I suppose it's not can't come down on one person because it's like everything you hear, really, isn't it?
Well, I found, yeah, I mean, it is,
and you like
that is actually quite literal in a
really
way.
crosses,
once you've been sort of mucking around with samplers for a number of years, every single sound you hear, you sort of, you think, hang on, would that be a good sample or whatever? It's, you know.
But we used to be into a lot of the sort of Sheffield industrial funk sort of stuff in the earlier days, like people like Hula and Chak and Workforce, that sort of.
Certainly,
it had a sort of certain subversiveness about it, but there was that really sort of funky sort of dance sort of element about it. We were really into bands like that, weren't we? And then it crossed the board to like Sonic Youth or anything, anything that sort of like that energy and stuff.
I used to listen to things like Crass and the Dead Kennedys and things like that a lot as well, which is also, definitely a source of inspiration.
When you're an adolescent, angry young man.
What's your idea of what's techno all about?
I don't think it's really about anything in particular.
I think
everybody I meet that does music is doing it for a different reason, so it seems. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just an abstract art form that's part and parcel of the computer age. We've entered the computer age sort of thing. It's like, when I was at secondary school, when it came to taking your options sort of thing, I could have done computers, but then it was, a little more than a pocket calculator and 4 computers amongst a class of 20, so it was pointless. Now it's a lot more standard in schools to learn about computers, and as that's sort of risen up, I think, so electronic music has risen up as well, the same way that so many things are computer controlled now.
There's a lot more people now that are more sort of technologically literate, that they understand about computers, and I think that's what helps this type of music, because it was so the typical argument of, like the old acoustic versus a computer, computers just do the music and it's not the people behind it.
Well, you make music that suits your environment, don't you?
Yeah, but I think that attitude is sort of really being squashed and get more understanding.
I think you do make music that not suits your environment, that is, it's like a caveman sitting there, wants to do a bit of music, so he hits a log with a stick because it's the nearest thing around. Do you know what I mean? So therefore, someone nowadays, like, I want to make a bit of music, it's a keyboard, and that it's just like that, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
a sampler and that sort of thing.
The guitar, in a way, in sort of 14, 15-year-olds sort of wanted to do something in his bedroom. That's what it's like for us, isn't it?
Do you think that the general raver has been brought under a false idea to what techno is really all about?
I don't know.
What was it? I don't know whether I understand the question, actually. Say it again.
Do you think the general raver has been brought under a false idea as to what techno is really all about?
I don't think I can answer that sort of question, really, because I never really sort of read into things or anything. I just sort of take everything on face value and try and judge people individually all the time. So I just never really. I'm one of these people. I never watch the news and things like that, or read newspapers, and I never have an overview of things.
You don't know what sort of raves are being told techno is. Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of like hard to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really answer that.
No.
I don't know what they think it is. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Everybody, like NME and the media, they've got an idea what techno is, haven't they? But I'm not too sure what it is because I don't really read them. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know how it's what the media and everything are saying. I in my head have got what I think is techno, and I would, but it's like just like a splinter sort of category under sort of electronic music, for me. And I don't know what everybody I talk to has sort of got a different idea what sort of techno is, and it's a bit ambiguous, really.
Do you believe house techno to be the most important musical advancement of this age?
Well, it's quite an important thing in the sense that it will be of interest in the future, like this wave of electronic music. You sort of look back and you talk of rock and roll. Do you know what I mean? That was important of its time. People who are interested in music are interested. Oh right, there was rock and roll. What was that about? Oh, that was about people sort of young people and sort of the development of the teenager, as it were, and people getting electric guitars and going a bit wild with them and doing stuff that older people would have said that's not music, that's a load of rubbish. And this is, I think this will be seen more as like the music that came with the computer age. It's like you had the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, and the computer revolution. Do you know what I mean? It'll just, these things flow on, and this music has got quite a lot to do with the computer revolution, more so than, well, I don't know, I was going to say more so than any type of music with the industrial revolution, but I'm not sure. Maybe something went on there as well. I don't know.
How do you see this music progressing? Like, where will it be in 10 years' time? And do you still see yourselves playing the same kind of music?
Got to go.
Sorry, say it again.
How do you see this music progressing? Where will it be in 10 years' time, and do you still see yourselves creating the same kind of music?
I imagine myself still using electronic instruments. The same sort of music, I doubt it. I should imagine in 10 years' time, who can tell? I don't even know what I'm going to do in a week's time. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to say.
How important do you think it is to play live?
I love it.
I think it's really important.
Yeah. It's good for us as well because we really loosen up, and the way we do it sort of really jammy and really spontaneous.
I think it's great though to see how people react to you spend all your time in the studio, sort of really insular, making music and that. And I think it's a really bad way of going about making music. So when you've done it, it's really nice to spend a month throwing yourself at people and saying, here it is, what do you think? And seeing exactly what people do think of it.
Yeah.
Coach, you cunt! Like, get the fucking guys out here. Like, I've had enough, man. Like, we've finished the gig. It's fucking outrageous. Like, I don't give a fuck, man. It's crap. Like, get it stopped. Like, that's enough, right?
What advice would you give to aspiring musicians and DJs?
Enjoy yourself, essentially, and don't, only sort of take you can't help taking influence from people. I wouldn't say try and be original or anything, because that's something I never particularly try and do. I think it can be foolish to do that. If you have an original idea, but whether it's original to you, and whether other people have done that before is not important. But if it's an original idea for you, then that's all you need to worry about, really. And especially for DJs, I would say, really, play what you want to hear. Don't play what are the top 30 popular records of the month. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which a lot of DJs do.
Yeah.
It's so boring. So boring.
It's very tricky to try and get into it though, and sort of make a career out of it and earn a living, so you can keep going. It's very hard to sort of get a foot in the door.
It doesn't often happen by trying too hard.
No, we were quite lucky in a way, because we did the sort of demo tapes and that sort of stuff, and went around and sued the record companies. Nobody was interested, and the timing was so. I think we were quite lucky with the timing and everything, and the tune that we put out first.
It was just the right track at the right time, wasn't it?
It's really like a combination like that.
The thing about that track was it just wasn't trying too hard or anything. It was just something whipped up, mucking around, having a laugh.
Somebody
recorded
wanted to
once,
start a
that'll
record
do.
label.
Somebody heard it and said, "Fuck, I want to put that out." So we said, "If you want."
It's their first.
It's like that. It's more like that. Are you sure you want this one? Do you want this one? We really like this one. No, get the fuck off. I want this one. So I think, enjoy yourself. really, is the answer to that one.
Do you see an end to vinyl in the imminent future?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll remain for quite a while, but not on a commercial level particularly. You'll buy it in special, as long as the DJs are knocking around and people are dancing. I think you'll buy vinyl in specialist dance shops for a lot longer than you'll see it in any chain stores. But instead of like record companies putting out say 500 promotional 12 inches, they'll probably knock up say 2,000 sort of sellable pieces of vinyl that'll just go to the specialist shops, especially for DJs. You know, I think it'll be like that really. I think that's what's going to happen.
Maybe they'll advance their sort of CD mixing.
Until basically it's the crossover period until the CD mixing becomes really good.
Mixing CDs.
Who do you believe to be the most imaginative, influential DJ around at the moment?
I don't think I can think of one DJ. Do you know what I mean? There's different DJs that have certain qualities, but I don't think there's any one DJ like that. If there is, then I don't know him, and probably nobody else does, and he's probably only ever plays in his bedroom. Do you know what I mean? It's probably like that.
You're getting locked in, guys.
Hopefully we're just finishing up now.
Okay, last, but just don't lock the door, but just give it back.
Cheers, Brett.
Yeah.
When was the best gig you ever played?
Well, I certainly enjoyed tonight. That was really it was good. It was good.
When you get a night like tonight, though, it's like there's been a few over time that have been like that, and you couldn't say anyone's better than the other because when you get a really good vibe from a crowd and that, they're all as good as each other. Those ones. That was a particularly good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. So that's
another one. Another one that I always sort of know like that is when we played in Australia.
Yeah, Australia.
On New Year's Eve sort of thing, got a really big warehouse sort of thing, and that was sort of particularly, that's particularly spectacular because it was New Year's Eve. It was roasting hot, and you're on the other side of the planet, and you're doing a gig, and there's like 3,000 people or whatever. That was pretty spectacular.
That's great.
Wish it was there.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Brilliant. There's a lot of names given to categorise techno, ambient soul, minimalist dance. What do you describe your music as?
I think you'd have to.
I normally say dance music because at the moment for me I can dance to it. Do you know what I mean? So I always think of it as dance music. But I really sort of, I don't know, I sit there talking categories to people, being a real sort of techno train spotter and that, but that's all sort of in fun really in a way. But when it comes to thinking of a description for what we do, I haven't really got one. Electronic music.
Electronic, yeah. I mean the pigeonholes and that are like some of the names you mentioned is just a device, it seems to me, for explaining a type of record or
I don't really think of it as techno
communication, because there are so many little avenues of sort of electronic produced music that does help communicate what a track is like or whatever. But that's as far as I take it. I don't sort of pigeonhole one band particularly as that, unless they are really strong and that is the only thing.
Are you playing Belgium? You going?
No, I've been going over to DJ, but
right.
we're not playing a gig, are we?
No.